Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wall. This is going to be a really quick video because I just finished watching Death of Superman, the animated movie, and I'm still a little teary from that, but it was good. It was pretty good. I mean, there's some stuff where the animation, especially like Clark's arms, were kind of like bigger than his body, and it's weird. Like they never really animated very well in some cases, but overall the story was great, and it summed it up pretty much the death of Superman. And I think I like this better than the other the Bruce Timm one that they did earlier. I forget. I think it was called Death and Rebirth or Life. Death and Life of Superman or something. But that one, it summed up both, the death and the life of Superman when Superman lives, together. But this one concentrated on the death of Superman, and you can really tell they're really putting out at the beginning how Superman's important. He's always been there and things like that. And then it gets to the death of Superman. Spoiler alert that Superman dies. Yeah, Superman dies in a movie called Death of Superman. If you call that a spoiler, then I don't know. Everybody knows the story of Death of Superman, pretty much, and it goes really well. In this one, it's better because they actually have the Justice League members in it fighting Doomsday, unlike the other one, which is pretty much Superman. But this one, man, the action was awesome. The animation, the city destruction. And, when people were talking about how it really is an homage to Zack Snyder and stuff, I was like, yeah, you really do see it, especially some of the punches, some of the throwing, him whipping Superman around, even down to the death parts. It's pretty similar. And whatever he does with well, I won't get into too much spoilers. You gotta go and watch it. But it does have an homage to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. But that's not all. I even picked up stuff from the Christopher Reeve Superman, especially things like crystals, and even the fact where he says, "I got you." Well, if you've got me, who's got you? Kind of, that whole helicopter thing. So it does have the homage for both. It's like a generational thing. It has an homage for the different Supermans, and I think I could get along with that. That's pretty fine. That's pretty cool. Very bloody. Very not as bloody as the Suicide Squad movies, but there's blood in here, and it's pretty violent in that respect. But it's not, like I said, it's not as violent as the Suicide Squad one. But they don't shy away from it here, and I love it. I think it was a really good movie. Even though the only qualms I probably think about is that because it's an animated movie and because there's a time restraints on this movie could have been like, Batman v Superman, 3 hours, and to take its time with the ending, with the sadness of it, but it because of the time restraints, I think they really only had less than 90 minutes. I gotta see. It might have been like 80 minutes or something like that. So they really had to go through it really quickly. So the pacing was fairly. It was really good up to the point until after the death, and then it kind of just like really quickly because they have to end the movie in that sense. So I felt it could have gone a little bit longer before. Lots of end credit scenes, maybe like 3 or 4, but you'll understand why, because each end credit scene is for certain characters if you know about the what happens after, okay, with this, I won't say anymore, but you should stay for that. I mean, if you're watching it, if you've already watched the leaked one, which I did watch, and thanks to who, who you are for letting me see that. I gotta thank you for that. So that was cool. That was a great night. And like I said, this is gonna be a short video. But before I go, I want to really touch base on one thing that I wanted to. I had it any of this day. I know you sent me that link like in April or something. I never got to watch it. It was just so much things piled on. I totally forgot. Well, I finally downloaded it. Thank you so much. He did a Batman of Justice edition, his own cut, and basically what it is that he took out the whole Lois Lane bullet type storyline. he took out all of that. Instead, he made Lois kind of just figure out the bombing at the Senate, and that's her case, that's her role in it. But he included the other ultimate cuts in all the Clark Kent scenes, which is makes it perfect because when you're watching it, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. This could have been the one we see in theaters, and it concentrated on Clark and Bruce. It's concentrated on Batman and Superman, which is great. I mean, you don't see the Superman saving Lois, but at the beginning with the terrorists, but they talk about it for a little bit, but so you don't get that. Boom! Here's Superman right from the beginning. But in a way, how it flows and how it's put together, it's actually very serviceable, and actually would have been a greater theatrical cut than what we got. I believe that. Although for Lois fans and for people who want to see more of Lois, unfortunately, a lot of that was taken out. But she still does that. Senate bombing thing, and then she goes to the guy's house to find out about the bombs and what he was making, and this figured out that he still had food in the fridge, that scene and stuff. And so I think that part was really well. And so, man, but it's great to see the homage for Death of Superman in the Batman versus Superman in Death of Superman, and seeing the homages that they put for Zack Snyder, and I think it works really well if you're a fan of Zack Snyder. But even if you're a fan of Superman and a fan of the DC animated features from before, I don't think it says the action is really intense and stuff by the parts where they're talking and stuff, where the animation, like I said before, is just so sometimes weird and awkward in the way Superman's drawn. But aside from that, great story, good work, and I can't wait to see the next one. Yeah, so I can't wait to see what happens afterwards, and we all know what happens afterward, but not in a serviceable fashion, I guess. In terms of what's compared to from before, from the other DC animated movie that Bruce Timm a while back, where it had Cyborg, it had Eradicator, I think, right? But it didn't have anybody else, and it didn't have the Justice League. So can't wait for the next one. All right, that's it for tonight. That was just some short because it's really late, and I just decided to put all my time and energy and effort into watching that Death of Superman. It hasn't come out yet, and when it does, I'm still going to purchase it because that was really good, and I really wanted to. I'll keep that in my digital collection. I have Justice League War, Justice League Throne of Atlantis. I had all the other ones, the Teen Titans one, Teen Titans versus Justice League. I have all those. So another one in my library. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.